Alright, so welcome to the Python tutorial course. So today I'm going to be talking about the if-else statements. If-else statements are used to execute a block of code if a certain condition is true, and another block of code if the condition is false. So then so basically that's just to say we have one condition, then we have two different blocks of code to actually execute. One is true about the condition, while the other one is false about that particular condition, right? So our if else statement will now have to make choice between the two different conditions that we have, right? That is what the if else statement is best known for. Now when it comes to the if else statement, right, its basic syntax can be very simple, right? The basic syntax of the if else statement is very simple. So it can go like it can look like this. We have the if condition. This is not the real code. I'm only writing the syntax, which is one of the things you should know how to do in Python programming. Then here we're gonna have we're gonna have the code to execute if condition is true, right? Then we're then gonna have else, sorry, else. So we're gonna, sorry, no, this is meant to come here. Else, right? Then we're gonna have another code to execute if condition is false. So basically we have two different conditions. One is one is a true condition, the other is a false condition. Now if the true condition is not in tandem with a block of code, right, if it is not in tandem with a block of code, then it will not give this, it will give the else, it will pass the else code. But if it is in tandem, then it won't pass this else code, it will pass the if code. That is the true code, not the false code. So let's see a typical example of this. Now before we go into that, let's also talk about the fact that condition is a Boolean expression, just like I stated earlier in the if statement. It's a Boolean expression that evaluates to either true or false. If the condition is true, the code inside the block the code inside the if block is executed. Just check this out now. The code inside the if block is executed. If the condition is false, the code inside the else block is executed. So take it again. It says if the condition is true, the code inside the if block is executed. But if the condition is false, the code inside the else block is executed. Now let's see a typical example of a simple if else statement. So we have x to be 5 as we've always used. So we have if x is greater than 10, right? Sorry. If x is greater than 10, then we say print x is greater than 10, right? So if x is equals to, okay, we have x2 equals to 5, then we now say if x is greater than 10, then we say print x is greater than 10, right? Now let's go to the else statement. Else else what? Print x is less than or equal to 10, right? X is less than or equal to 10. So well, I'm sure we've talked about something like this the other time, but it's important that we really understand the concept. Now this is basically a simple if-else statement. It's a very simple if-else statement. It's straightforward one. So we have the if statement and its condition, then the else statement and the condition and the code. Now let's understand. Let's digest first. Now we have a variable x to be 5. Then so that means that, of course, you know that it's more like a universal variable, right? So wherever we declare x, we mean 5, right? So here we have x, right, to be greater than 10. Is that true? So that means that if x is greater than 10, the machine will print x is greater than 10. Else, that means if else is not now greater than 10, in terms of the real life scenario, the machine will print x is less than or equal to 10. So let's run this and let's see what the result will look like. So it's going to give us either of these two. So now we have the result, x is less than or equal to 10, because our machine here knows that x is 5 and 5 is not greater than 10. Just like I stated earlier, if this is 50 and we run this again, then we're going to have x is greater than 10 because 50 is greater than 10. Now let me just talk about it. It says in this example, the condition x is greater than 10 is false, right? If this was the initial that we have, x is greater than 10, this is a false because 5 is not greater than 10. So the code inside the else block is executed and the message is x is less than. Let's run it again so we can have, so the message is x is less than or equal to 10 is printed, right? That is that about that. Let's go to if statement with true condition. If statement with true condition. So I think I just did that where I used 50, right? This is going to be a true condition because x here is truly greater than 10. So let's run this now. So now we have it, x is greater than 10. In this example, the condition x is greater than 10 is true. So the code inside the if block is executed and the message x is greater than 10 is printed. Now let's go to another example of the if statement, which is called if statement with multiple conditions, right? So we have x to be equal to let's say 15, right? Let's say y equals to 20, right? And we have if x then we have if x is greater than 10, right? So and y is greater than 15, right? Then we say print x is greater than 10 and y is greater than 15. Okay, so else print x is less than or equal to 10 or y is less than or equal to 10 to 15, I mean, because the y has to do with 15. So this is what we call multiple condition, if statement with multiple conditions. So we have two different conditions, we have x and y. So it says if x is 10 and y, if x is greater than 10 and y is greater than 15. So first of all, humanly speaking, reasonably, do you think this is true? So let's look at that. X is greater than 10. That's true. And y as well is greater than 10. That's true. So the result printed will be the result I will print, that the result we will get is now x is greater than 10 and y is greater than 15. So let's run this and let's see how true that is. Yep. So we have the result x is greater than 10 and y is greater than 15 printed out. So but let's imagine this is actually 2, not let's imagine that is a true 2, just ordinary 2, right? So of course we can say if x is greater than 10 and y is also greater than 15, which this is a false, right? Because our y is just 2, so y is not greater. So we then say this, then let's run it, let's see what the result will look like. So the result here will now be x is less than or equals to 10, or y is less than or equals to 15. So because of course y is less than 10, y is less than 15. So she says y is less than or equal to 15. Say x is less than, x is even not less than or equal to, but it is the y that is affecting. All right, so let's go to something we also call the if let me just put 20 back, let me put 20 here. So now there's something we call the if else statement with nested conditions. The if else statement with nested conditions. So with nested conditions will now look like something we did earlier in the what's it called now, in the if statement. So we have if x equals to 10 equals if x greater than 10, then if y greater than 15, print, let's run this now. So of course we have an error again, which is something we have to treat urgently. So this is the error. Let's tab it, right? Then let's tab this as well. So now we can run this. So now we have a result, which is x is greater than 10 and y is greater than 15, because that's the true scenario, because x is just 15 and y is 20, so they are both greater than 10 and 15. So that is that about that. Okay, so in this example the condition x is true, so the condition, so the code inside the first if block is executed. Then the condition y is greater than 15 is also true. So the condition inside the second block, if the second if block is executed and the message x is greater than 10 and y is greater than 15 is printed. Now we also have something called the if statement with multiple else clauses. If statement with multiple else clauses, and this is how that looks like. So let's say we have this to be 5, then we have x is greater than 10. We don't have a y here, so let's take this out, and it's less than or equal to 10. Let's take this out. Now this is called the if statement with multiple else clauses. So first of all we have this x to be equal to 5, then we have if else is greater than 10, then we have print x is greater than 10, then after that we are going to have elif x is equal to 5, right? Then we then say no, not there, let's make this come one step backward. Then we then say print x is equal to 5, right? Else x is less than 5. So here we have multiple conditions, right? I mean multiple else clauses. So we have if else is this, it prints this. Elif, that is else if x is equals to 5. So if x is equals to 5, then we're going to have x is equals to 5 printed. Else, then we can as well have x is less than 5 if the value for x is truly less than 5, right? All right, so let's see this, what we're going to get. So of course you can tell that you can tell the results, right? But before I run, let me quickly explain it better. So it says in this example the condition x is greater than 10 is false. Oh really? So x is greater than 10 is a false. Let's see, x is 5. Definitely that's the false statement because 5 is not greater than 10. So the condition inside the first inside the first if block is not executed. So this is not executed, right? So we can see what is executed. The condition here is now x is equals to 5. So because this is what we passed, x is equals to 5. So then the condition x equals to 5 is true. So in Python programming, if you understand your operators, this is x equals to 5. So this is true, right? Because x is equals to 5, x is equals to 5, and that's a true statement, right? So the code inside the elif block is executed and the message x is equals to 5 is printed, just as we can see here that x is truly equals to 5. Now let's go into something a part of this course where we call if statement with ternary operators. If statement with ternary operators. So if let's see, x equals to 5, print x equals to 5, print x is greater than 10 if x is greater than 10, if x greater than 10, else x is less or equal to 10. Now this is what we call a ternary operator. Now in this example the condition x is greater than 10 is false. Oh, yes, because x is just 5. Let's move this here. So x is just 5, right? So that's the false statement. So the message x is less than 10 or x is less than or equal to 10 is printed. So let's run this and let's see what the results will look like. So we have x is less than or equal to 10. So this is what we call the ternary operators, why some of the condition is found inside some of the code is found inside the condition, right? Some of the code is found inside the condition. So we have the if statement found inside the condition itself. So that is what it simply means. These are just a few examples of how if statements can be used in Python, and if statements are a fundamental control structure in programming and are used to make decisions based on conditions. Now let me give you some quick one as I round up the if if else statements. Some of the best practices of the if else statement is use if else statement to make decision based on condition. Use if else elif clause to check multiple conditions. Use else clause to handle default cases. Use ternary operators to simplify simple if else statements. Use indentation to make code readable, right? Of course, that's very important. Use comments to explain complex code. You know how to write comments. You know what comments are, right? They are used to explain your code. And writing comments in Python programs is just as simple as just writing a brief the description or explanation of the code you write, having an hash button, an hash symbol before the explanation, right? So this is where I'm gonna round up the if else statements. Thank you for watching. Do have a wonderful time. Bye.